Well, good Thursday evening to you, everybody. How are you? It's good to see you. It's good to be seen by you. I hope you're having an absolutely wonderful evening. I, of course, am your hairy, happy, humble host, Bill Sylvie, aka the Dungeon Delver. And I hope you're all having a wonderful, wonderful evening. And as for your comments on starting, Wizard is neither early or is he late, but he arrives exactly when he means to. So I want to start out with something. It's funny. I say I don't want to start out on a down note, but it seems like I do, like every seventh video. I don't know how many of you guys follow this fellow on YouTube. He's got like 1,020,000 subs, so it's probably a fair amount. But he always came across as a very decent and warm fellow. He's nothing to do with role-playing games at all. He is a hiker, a stealth camper. He's gone camping in some wacky places. I mean, to say in the wooded space in a divided highway, that's like the least crazy places he stealth camped. His name is Steve Wallace. Just a happy-go-lucky guy. He's a shade younger than I am. You get to a point though where younger doesn't really have much of a meaning. And I saw a video from him pop up today, and I couldn't believe the title. I could not. Like I was like, no, there must be another meaning to this. There must be a different subtext to this that I'm not getting. But Mr. Wallace lost his wife. And he's obviously just devastated. And why am I bringing this up? This is a reminder that we're real people. You know, I mean, I kid about this is like playing television, but there is a real person on the other side of the camera, and it doesn't matter how many viewers you get or whatever. There's still a person on the other side, and things like this can still wreck you. He says he'll be back. I sincerely hope he is. I'll understand if he's not. If he just can't pick up and go on, you know. I'm not going to get too much into the details of it. If you want some interesting information to add to what would it be like for an adventuring party out in the wilderness, go check out his channel, Camping with Steve Wallace, WALLIS. Because he really has like roughed it. Okay, I mean, when you take a sleeping bag and a pellet cook stove and spend the night in a culvert pipe under a highway, you know, that's not precisely glamping. And you're right, Kennick, every day is a gift. But go give his channel a look. It has my seal of approval. It has my endorsement. You might get some ideas on how a party might fend off the elements. And it's just fun. It's just darn fun. Me and number one Delver daughter enjoy watching his videos from time to time. So give him a look. And in case you're wondering, I am enjoying a little bit of ginger ale in my official unbreaded pint glass designed by my good friend, the Dungeon Minister there from the Guac this past summer. And we salute Dungeon Minister, another Canadian YouTuber who has recently crossed the 1,000 mark. And I think at this point, you know, I've jokingly said, if I get 10,000 subs on the channel, I'll have an in-person convention, not at my house. Okay, I just want to make that 100% clear. Never at my house. I think at this point, and I said that as a hollow threat because I'm never going to get 10,000. Maybe I'll piggyback on him. When he gets 10,000, I'll have an IRL convention because at the rate he's going to be there sometime next July, I think. But anyway, so to move on to look at the rest of the week, we have, of course, tonight's show, and we have a very special guest. A very important guest will be on the show in just a few minutes when I'm done blathering. And tomorrow night, Todd, tomorrow night, not tonight, tomorrow night, we've got Gamma World happening. And of course, there'll be some preamble before it. Monday is going to be awesome. Monday, we return to Dungeon Module Deep Dives. And for the first time, we have a module designer who will be here. That's right. The one, the only, Alan Hammock will be here, and we will be deep diving into C2 Ghost Tower of Inverness. And I am super excited about it because we're going to get his design insights on how he created one of the most fiendish AD&D challenge adventures of all times, and I'm really, really, really looking forward to it. So Alan said, yeah, I'll come and do it. So we were because his September is going to be busy. My September is going to be busy. So yeah, he'll be here, and that'll be a lot of fun. So Monday, be here. You won't want to miss Monday, because how many times? None, but at least on this show. But how many times have you ever gotten to listen straight from the source? Yeah, this is why the module works this way. So that is going to be Tres Awesome, and I'm looking forward to it. By the way, that's Spanish. That's for 3 awesomes. And then, of course, you know the drill. Tuesday night, we'll be playing some AD&D. Wednesday night, we'll be playing Traveler. Thursday night, if we haven't finished C1, I am C2 rather. I'm entirely sure that Alan will have given us a strong enough foundation that we can finish it, and then. If we have finished it on Monday, we can talk about how awesome D&D 1 is going to be.
It's false. No way. Not this time. We created it. Not this time. No, not this time. It's totally made up.
Thank you. Thank you, Will Riker. Thank you for reminding us of that. But anyway, so no, Thursday, if we don't have any more Ghost Tower of Inverness to wrap up, we'll probably jump back into C1, which of course is Hidden Shrine of Temakan, which is a fun module. So, and then of course Game World, but all that's next week. So that's what we've got coming up for the rest of this week and into next week. But for tonight, I want to welcome a very special guest to the show. And put my I'm thinking, guys, I may end up going like at the very least the lavalier mic. This is a cool aesthetic. I catch myself on this thing, and it sounds like an industrial music concert when I move the boom around, and I do because I fidget incessantly. So I don't know. I'm thinking like one of the like lavalier mics that just clip on and connect to the computer via Bluetooth. But we'll have to see how things shake out. There's a lot on the table right now. So anyway, without further ado, I'm going to bring on our guest, and I got to put these on so I can hear our guest talking, as always. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, put your hands together for tonight's guest, the one, the only, Mrs. the Dungeon Delver. Hello.
Hello. All the way from across the house.
All the way from across the house. Yes. I hope we're getting a good, strong signal in. Well, first of all, let me introduce the only woman on the East Coast who can tolerate me.
Sure.
For an extended period of time. For which I am eternally grateful and forever happy. So, as you all know, as the late summer dragged on, you know, we had some things pop up that necessitated medical attention with Mrs. the Dungeon Delver, and I was sort of in and out for the long stretch of it, but. You see here my darling wife who went through it all. And I believe, I could be wrong about this. Maybe there was someone out there going, yeah, she's feeling bad. That's awesome. But I think by and large, everybody was on your side. And the comments there, Ian Wise says, hello, Mrs. the Dungeon Delver. Hopes you're well. Luther says, awesome. Dungeon Minister says, yay. Luther also says, this woman is a saint.
Well,
thank you.
Not wrong. You know, news of my canonization has not come down yet, but you know, you never know.
Yes. Well, we'll have to consult the Dungeon Minister about that. I don't. Do they do saints in the Anglican Dungeon Minister? You can type that up in a minute. But anyway, Kennick says he hopes you're feeling better. And if you want her to feel a lot better, super chats are absolutely accepted. Feel better is a $10 super chat. Feel great is a $20 super chat. So I kid them about super chats constantly. I love my audience. Paul,
I told you. Oh, hello, Paul. Yes, and I've been seeing all the notes that say feel better, we hope, and hope you feel better. So thank you very much to all of you. And I happen to know Paul personally, so hello, Paul. Tell us what Bill did to you. Yeah, no, that's like a super expensive super chat.
yeah, you're gonna that's gonna be like I think YouTube caps before you can do that. But if you want to try it, if anyone wants to try it, go ahead and give it a shot, and we'll see. But anyway, no, we had talked about her coming on the show. It's like, oh, well, you know, when we get home a couple of days after, you know, all the events at the hospital, we'll have her on, you know, you can come on the show and we can tell everybody, yeah, no, that's not, no.
I wasn't really sure of my own name still at that point, I think.
Yeah. That strong stuff, that stuff that comes out of the wall in the hospital. They're keeping her
that stuff. That's
pain management. But anyway, so now a lot of people have asked, Mrs. the Dungeon Delver, I don't want to dox you. I don't want to dox you. It's but anyway, a lot of people have asked.
Spa day. That's nice. I like that. Sorry, someone said I appreciated spa day. Yeah.
Spa. Anyway, spa. Luther says, this really humanizes me. I assumed you were a grumpy troll in a cave with a microphone and camera. I am. What the fuck makes you think any of this is different? Oops, just got demonetized. It's funny. I get demonetized.
Well behaved with me around. Just saying.
I drop F-bombs in my videos and get demonetization notes from YouTube, and I just click appeal. And there's a little tick box that says, are you sure you didn't do anything to get limited monetization? Yes. Click. I know exactly what I did per video. But anyway. We're oh my gosh, is it let's see, it's 2023 coming up. So That's 24 years for the two of us. 20.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah.
24 years
So
in March. Putting up with each other. That's true.
and I have to say, no, I don't know if that as a couple is such a kind of a hazy area, but I'm gonna say the second phase, the sequel that began back in the mid 1990s.
Part two.
Part yeah. Anyway, what was
Hi, Aurora. I see you.
Oh, Aurora, thank you for stopping by. Hello. I was afraid you wouldn't be able to make it. Luther, have a good one. Take care. Thank you for stopping by. A lot of the people want to know if you're a gamer and if you have in fact gamed with me. Now, obviously you're not on the Tuesday night AD&D live stream or the Wednesday night Traveler or the Friday night Gamma World, but in your own words, please tell the nice people, which is like two of them. I think it's Aurora and Paul. No, three of them, Aurora, Paul, and the Dungeon Minister. Tell the nice people and the rest of the people about your tabletop gaming from your perspective.
I come from a line of gamers, if you include my father and my mom.
Mm-hmm.
They're the first line of gamers. Although, yeah, my grandparents were into lots, card games and dice games. And my dad was very much into the old school tabletop games. You're talking like the bookcase games, lots of World War II games and things. And every Friday night, you could lay out the game on the cleared off dining room table and get, pretzels and beer out. And he would just sit and sort of look at this stuff. And my sister and I were like, how is this fun? He's just staring at it. Well, he would his moves and then read a letter, move things along the board, write his letter back, and then at the end of the weekend the boxes would be put over on top of the game and it would be carefully moved to the sideboard for the week or 2 weeks. So he was playing these games by mail with people, really complicated things that I never understood because I just was not, I was like, 7? So we've inherited a lot of his bookcase games because he was like, well, I'll just get rid of them. We're like, oh my God, don't do that. Don't get rid of them. But one of the ones we used to play was Bazaar, which I can't remember how to play, but it was kind of fun, like a marketplace game. The Acquire, the hotel game. It doesn't look like hotels, but I was actually pretty good at that one. Got to be kind of greedy for that one. And Bazaar, not Bizarre, true. My mom's favorite was Dune, the bookcase game Dune. She always played the Atreides. Always. And my dad was always playing. We taught him to play D&D with us, and always joked that his alignment was chaotic weird.
Yes.
So fun. He has a very, very strategic mind. He always beat the pants off us in Clue. So that was very frustrating. I got so close to winning Clue, and he would yell "Hughes" and right, you can never win. But I learned how to be a good sport by playing Clue with my father. It was not easy. Although I did once lose. Was it? I can see it in my head. Trivial Pursuit. And Bill, you still razz me about this to this day because I'm terrible with names, right? And the question was the actor who played Han Solo.
Yes, Harrison Ford.
I was so angry because I could not get myself to say Harrison Ford. I am still mad to this day. How long is it? Like 20 years, 30 years? Still mad.
It seems like that. When I went over to Mrs. the Dungeon Delver's house and met her parents for the first time, they had these stackable cubes that they kept.
Bookcases, yeah.
It was bookcase, and they had a wall. And I'm not kidding you. It was probably because they had a vaulted living room ceiling. It was his place over on the west side of town, vaulted living room ceiling.
Mhm.
So the wall of cubes was 10 feet wide by 8 feet high, and at least 2/3 of that was Avalon Hill bookcase games.
If it fell on you, it
And
would
I
have
mean,
killed you.
yeah. I mean, and it was Kriegspiel, Fall of the Third Reich,
Oh yeah, definitely.
Diplomacy, and a lot of 3M games. Yes, 3M, the paper goods and glue company, also made. They got into the business too, and they had a ton of games that they put out. I don't know if 3M got acquired, which is kind of ironic because the majority of the 3M games were like financial, as I recall. Like the fun stuff, the science fiction-y stuff, and what if war games were Avalon Hill, and then he had like, and it suited your dad to a T though, but like every stock trading simulation game. And
well, I wonder, someone's asking if he had Campaign Africa. I'm not sure, but it sounds familiar.
Probably Todd.
Probably did.
And I mean, it may be lurking in one of the boxes here because when they moved, he deleted about 1/3 of his collection. I don't know what happened to it. Goodwill, I think. I don't think he would have thrown it away. But then they moved into a new place over on this end of town, and he just gradually winnowed it down. But I took the bulk of those, but I don't remember what they are. Africa Core was in there, Divine Right, Kingmaker.
Kingmaker was kind of cool. The War of the Roses, I was pretty good at that.
Yes. Aurora says, not the German Parliament game. Are you talking about Diplomacy? With that one, yeah, Diplomacy is the one war game, like tabletop war game that what's his name, Mumbly Joe. He was Nixon's Secretary of State. Yeah. President.
All I can see in my head is the character based on him in Venture Brothers. With his murder bag.
Henry Kissinger.
Thank you.
Henry Kissinger.
Kissinger.
But no, so your dad would have the first time I went over and met Colleen's parents in 1989, the main dining room table, not the dining table in the kitchen, the main formal dining room, the table was occupied by a Civilization game. Civilization was a board game before it was a computer game.
They did that one a lot, and they taught my younger sister Rail Baron. And her friends from high school would come over and play Rail Baron. I didn't have the patience for it, to be honest. So just like, I got other things. I'm like, oh, shiny over there. But they did have these enormous day-long games of Rail Baron, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yes. So your dad, and I would almost want, it's like if it's something he would ever stomach, would be to get your dad to finally reveal that. He's always been very tight-lipped about it, but Colleen's dad sent a game to Avalon Hill, or he came close to her. So I don't remember, but
he wanted to create a game, and he didn't think he could sell it. That made me very sad. But he was always very interested in learning D&D, and we taught him. I got Bill into painting the miniatures because he was like, "This will be your gateway drug into D&D." I'm like, "Oh, thanks." So yes. I taught him to paint these, and he's taken off on that. Took over my hobby. Kind of see where that got.
Let's see. Question from Todd: have you ever played Scotland Yard? I have not.
No,
I never played Scotland Yard.
That sounds like fun though, just from the title.
Clue, just I can't wrap my head around, like, I don't. The movie's funny,
The movie's hilarious.
but I literally, people are like, oh, but Bill, you could play Dungeons and Dragons Clue. Let's just slice off that end piece and move that away, and then move the other two in the center, and then I'm good. But I just Clue. Just I don't.
I liked Clue. Yeah, we think very differently.
Yes. Or Cluedo, as they call it in the UK. Cluedo.
Okay.
But yeah, so you had a gaming background when you sat down, and I've told you guys before, Colleen was the first victim of my rekindled joy for AD&D. If you've ever played the solo DM and player module that I wrote, Stealing the Night Away, or is it Swords Against Thievery or Stealing the? I think it was Swords Against Thievery. I can't remember. The one with the purple cover. It's been a while since I've opened it. You are looking at the playtester. You are looking at the person that I dissected on, and discovered her absolute dislike of spiders.
Yeah, no, you thought you would cure me of my fear of spiders, and I disabused you of that notion.
Yeah. So you crawl into the tunnel, and 3 large spiders drop down on you. Colleen, what do? I stopped playing your fucking Dungeons and Dragons game, Bill.
Pretty much what I almost.
Spiders, they aren't spiders, they're rats. They're rats. And she's like, okay, that I can deal. So, yes, Colleen there playtested that module for me, and so many people have come back and said that that's like, oh my gosh, it looks just like an AD&D module, and I was able, I beefed up the monsters and added a couple of extra, and I was able to run it for more than one player, and it was awesome. And I like it's down to a trickle, but every once in a while somebody will contact me through social media, just, are you the Bill Sylvie that wrote the DD modules? Yeah, that's
very cool.
Those are really good. So you had a part in that, and then I just kind of dragged you to. You're like, oh, that's nice, right there on the lip of that little whoa, and I just pulled you in.
Nope. The Dungeon Minister says that his wife feels my pain.
Yeah, I described the game to her as I read it, and then she has to play it. So
I always love it when you and the younger Delver Jr. will describe to me Stranger Things, because watching it's a little much for me, but I do love good stories and good characterizations and things. I love when you guys tell me about the show. I don't really want to watch it myself because it's too much for me. Yes, I read Stephen King in high school, but I don't want to watch it, It's like a line. I don't need to see the horror movie. I got enough imagination right here. I just read the book. I'm good.
Now, I have to reveal a terrible, dark secret here because I want to. Yes, I do. I have to. It is the first gaming experience in our later relationship. Mm-hmm. And this is strange because Mrs. the Dungeon Delver played. I did not. I had no interest, and it was a role-playing game. She got invited by like friends of friends to a LARP, a Vampire the Masquerade. Do you remember that?
You think about what you say next.
I'm not. I'm just going to say that it was. I sat there and read. I think I had a copy of the
evening that I will never get back.
Yeah.
It's a thing I can say I have done, and I do not have to do it again. And I was like 21 at the time, something like that. I don't know, in my 20s for sure.
Yeah, this would have been like late 95, early 96 at the latest. But yeah, that was a
thing that happened, and it's done.
That was a thing that happened. Aurora says, sounds about right for vampire LARPing. Yes.
Yes, I was dragged into that, and I was like, okay, what are we doing now? What?
Yeah, so to completely draw a totally clear picture here. I don't know exactly what it was that your perception of it was, but I think it was probably different than what they were telling you, because I was sitting there and I was just kind of hanging back, and I think we carpooled with some of the people there, so it wasn't even a case of I could walk over and say, "Oh my gosh, I forgot I left a roast on. It will be ruined. We have to leave," or anything like that.
But at least you were there, so I could, like, at least, go off into a corner, just pretend I was like, just come over here, Bill, and just pretend that, like, we're sucking face or something, so I don't have to, like, deal with these people.
Yes. And
They're
it
being
was
so much taller than the rest of us. You can at least look intimidating if I was just, like, so over everybody.
yes. It was at a. It was at a. Now, when I say golf club, you guys, like, I've taken the camera around my studio space, gaming room, hobby space, everything. It was about twice as big as this. It was a storefront in a strip mall. So when I say golf club, don't get these illusions. Yeah, don't get these illusions of like something out of an Anne Rice novel, because it wasn't.
It was terribly underwhelming.
But anyway, so that was a thing that happened.
And now you've told the world about it. Thanks so much for that.
Well, I think I'd mentioned not that part, but before Spencer's gift. Yeah, Bob. It was like a Spencer's gift vomited its clothing section into.
No, thank goodness there were no blood sprinklers. Yuck.
Yeah.
I'm sure they would have loved that, and I'd have been like, "We're gone. There's no Uber at that time."
We'll
like,
walk.
Whatever. We'll
walk at that point. It was out by the university, because of course it was out by the university, right? And
because that's what people do in their 20s. They go to college and they do stupid stuff.
Yeah. College in the 90s, nerds, Vampire the Masquerade. That was pretty much it. Spencer's Gifts, man, I forgot that story. Yes. So let's see, comment wise. Chris, hello and goodbye. Christopher Sims, in and out. Todd Singh. Yeah, so it's been a running. He saw something over here on the shelf that I still don't know what in the hell he was talking about, that he said looks like a horse, and I'm not. I'm still. I don't know what he meant, and it's going to become a running joke that he claims he sees a horse over my right shoulder. We'll keep working with you, Todd. But so the gaming escapades did continue for a number of years. Painting miniatures. Our thing when we were dinks was put on Big Trouble in Little China or Buck.
We would put that on and paint for hours.
And then just while away a Saturday or Sunday afternoon painting miniatures, which is why I have a shelf of glory at all. Many of these are by Mrs. the Dungeon Delver's hand.
So I have to say, Dungeon Ministers Bob Johnny says I'm feeling better, so thank you very much. And someone else says, is it a black horse? Because that's what I see. I think I see what they're talking about. It's not like one item. I think it's a combination of items that through the camera have a sort of kind of like when you're looking at clouds, you see shape. Looks kind of like a horse shape. It's just to the side of you get the shield poster. Okay, so if you go up, right there. That would be the head of the horse. And the rump of the horse is closer to the shield.
Okay, so this is a Han Solo statuette, which I got as a gift. This is Motoko Kusanagi from Ghost of the Shell.
It's whatever is that's
the
the head of the horse.
Hat.
Okay.
That is the purple wizard's
It does
hat.
not look like your wizard's hat on camera.
Well, the lighting's not great. It's something that I want to work on.
So there you
And
go.
Todd's warning me to look out that it bites.
Yeah.
But anyway,
And
so
it's a wizard's
mystery
hat.
solved, Todd. Here, look. Look.
You're welcome.
See,
That was good for
you're safe. You're safe. It's just a hat. It won't
But
bite
it's a
you.
wizard's hat. You might be in danger.
Yes.
Just saying.
It's creepier if it's a collection of things that become a horse. Well, there you've got a monster for your next D&D game.
Well,
Can I put that there? Can I put it on the? Can I put it on the crab? No, it'll hide the crab and it'll hide my face.
That was a headless horse. He's right.
Oh, he's gonna have nightmares now. Well, he's not sleeping with me. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, got a couch, you know.
All right, bye, Aurora. Thank you for stopping by. She says, keep getting better.
That's the plan. I can laugh without wanting to die. That's a big plus.
Yes. So
the problems. I don't want to be sneezing.
And also, I remember in 2000 when Diablo 2 dropped, because Diablo was like an awesome jam. I loved the original Diablo.
Do that for hours.
Yep, because I had that job that I worked like 4 days on, 3 days off, 3 days on, 4 days off, and 4 days off is a powerful incentive to sit and play video games for at least a couple of them. So
I think it was Diablo 2 that we set up like almost like a server way so that I could play Diablo with my dad for Father's Day that year.
Mm-hmm.
That was a good time.
Correct. That is correct.
We'd have to
played
text
some Diablo 2
through the game because didn't have headsets and Discord and things yet. So
yeah, the human malware that was released just in time for 2020 was, if nothing else at all, it did, as I've said time and again, it drove telecommunications. So, Dungeon Ministers. So,
thank you so much.
Thank you, Dungeon Minister. I'm going to put the horse's head back on and scare Todd some more.
Yeah, because I mean, you could still bite him without the head, but that's even scarier.
Yes.
Something just disturbing about that.
There, now it has yellow stars and moons and so on it. Yes. So yeah, played. I set up Diablo 2 so you and your dad could play without having to get on the server. Because, you know, but now the way Blizzard has it, it's like you're always on. You're always on.
If it's a sorting horse, do you find out if you're a Palomino or like Appaloosa or something? The houses of horses, not the but
Lost Boys movie thing. I'm guessing you're talking about. Let me see.
We used to have that Lost Boys poster on your wall forever.
I did, yes. I've still got it.
Asked me to try to talk you into taking it off the wall, like the first time I met her, and I'm like, I don't think I can do that. I'm like,
no. I love my Lost Boys movie poster, and maybe someday I can get it put back up.
Unless you have any wall space left.
Well, I kind of have wall space. I need bookshelf space because the awesome donations by Rusty are filling up a good bit of floor space, which is what I fought tooth and nail to solve.
Bookcases together and got shelves and put everything up, and it looks so nice. And boom! I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
An embarrassment of riches, of course, but holy moly.
Well, a good portion of the things that he actually loves are going back to him. We just have to arrange shipping and so on.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Let's see. But anyway, I'm sorry. I was getting messaged, and I have my chat is on the editing PC over there, so it's like I keep hearing dings, and I'm like, "Is there an emergency?" And then it occurs to me, you're the only person about whose emergencies I care right now. So,
Well, I appreciate it.
No problem. Really way to humble us. So yeah, it was Diablo and then Diablo 2. And you played a lot of Guild Wars, didn't you?
I did for a while. It was fun. And I got accepted into a small group that was guild. They were much higher level than I was, which was super nice. They were really and then like I didn't play for a little while. I came back and they'd all quit, and I'd become like the leader of the guild. They'd left everything to me. That was kind of cool. I'm like, I should have taken a vacation sooner. So, but yeah, I did play that for quite a while. I can't play the first-person shooters though. It's ridiculously motion sick, which is just so annoying.
Oh, I remember. I was so happy when I got a couple of network cards, and I got our PCs network together, and I was like, this is going to be awesome. I'm going to play Quake with Colleen, and it's going to be fantastic. And we're going to, because Quake 1,
nope.
Quake 1 had a co-op mode. You could do the single player game of Quake as paper thin and of an experience as it was, but you could do it with friends, and you weren't, in these unsettling, eerie corridors all by yourself. And yeah, it was. I remember exactly precisely where we were in the Quake 1 map when you had to nope out, and that's not a complaint. I mean, it is a real thing that some people can't play first person shooters, but when you start the map, you cross over the river, you go into the tech base area, you hang a left, then you hang a right, and then you go down the ramps.
Make me dizzy thinking about it.
We got to the start of the ramps, and you were like, "Hub, I can't anymore."
Yeah, and I remember really trying to hang in there. I'm like, this is like a blinking. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna blink and I'm fine. I'm gonna look. Nope. Okay, nope.
Yeah, no, and we tried third person mode, and that
it just wasn't the same. So yeah, first person shooters and virtual reality games, unfortunately, I just cannot do. So, and most of them seem to be one or the other these days. So I'm like, well, I'll just wait for all that nostalgia stuff to come back for, like, say, Diablo or Guild Wars or something.
Yeah. Well, I think it's you have to buy it through the Origin store, but Diablo 2 was re-released by Blizzard. So you can actually. Yeah, I would rather install it and load up on patches and play it, because you can play it in 1024 by 768 now. I'm like, it's not really what I'm after. It's it's kind of like when people are, you can play modern D&D, but you can play it in an old school way, or, and hear me out, I can just play old school D&D.
You can. It's true.
I've got the install discs, and the hardware is just as good as it used to. Well, okay, the hardware is more or less as good.
Drivers are a little shoddy. They need to be.
Yeah.
They make them anymore.
Hard drive is a little fragmented now, but
that makes it kind of more fun, though. Honestly, you never know what you're gonna get.
Exactly.
So yeah, never a dull moment.
Lose a little bit of your cognitive ability, and every day is a new surprise.
It's true.
But no, I enjoy doing that. And a funny connection to D&D. This is actually in the interview with with Gary. He mentioned at the time, this would have been 2002, so Diablo 2 was literally only a couple of years old at that point. But his son Alex was big into Diablo 2, and I asked him how he had felt about seeing fantasy computer games come up, and Gary's take on it was, fantasy computer games are fine, but calling them computer role-playing games is a bit silly, because who are you playing a role to? The computer doesn't care if you're in character or not. But when they were developing Diablo, the devs came to Gary and asked for an endorsement. Like, oh, we love playing D, and he was like, well, I mean, because who were Blizzard at that point? They had done some action platformers, and that was it. So he kind of was like, yeah, you know. And then Diablo comes out, and it, you know, it shifts like 1 million units in its first 6 months or something like that. And he reached out to them, and he's like, so about that endorsement, and they're like, yeah, we kind of don't need you.
Rude.
So, I mean, I don't know exactly how they phrased it, but yeah, they were like, yeah, maybe next time. But yeah, the Diablos are fun. Now, you've played, but I haven't played Diablo 3. From a fantasy gaming standpoint, how did you find Diablo 3? I mean, how did you find the experience?
Oh, so how did I find it? I think it was a Christmas gift. How did I find the experience?
Yes, how did you find the gaming experience?
You've done those jokes to me so many times. I'll have to get you again.
I know.
So, you're making me feel old. I have to try to remember this stuff. I remember the effects and everything, and it's kind of smoother in transitions and a lot of things, so that was really nice. And there was a little less lag sometimes, and I was trying to kill something, and then they're like, you can turn around, they would kill me by, you know, I'm like, no. There was a little less swearing from me. From me on my part at the game. It was kind of fun to be able to put all the gems in different ways into all the different types of things you could, the armor, the weapons. Although sometimes it got a little frustrating. It's like, well, what do you mean I can't do this? Okay, shoot, I should have put this other one in here, and then I could have done this. And the different, I think they had added like necromancer, and and barbarian. A couple of the classes I think they had added, which were kind of fun to explore. I'm always more interested in sort of the long range thiefy stuff. Like I want to run away rather than die. You know.
Yeah.
I want to do like mass damage, like cleansing fire away from me. So
over yonder.
Over yonder. Yes, exactly. Like I want to see you and just like hit you with it and be like, I told you not to do that, and be done with them. So I usually played those kinds of characters. I was not the one going to run straight into it and get myself killed. I'd watch those players and go, y'all, that was dumb. Now you're dead. What you gonna do? So yeah, it was fun. I think, though, in a way, it was a lot like Diablo 2, which was good, but also kind of bad, because it's like, well, I've been here and I've done this, and it has nicer colors and a few different characters.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, I mean, okay, I never finished it. I played as much as I wanted to, and then I was done. So.
Well, what's the matter? Don't you people have phones? Sorry, that was a rather infamous thing, because when the developers of Diablo bought a Chinese MOBA and did an asset switch on it, and they said, "Oh, we've got more Diablo coming for you," and they did this big hype up, and they said it's a mobile game, and it literally, you could have heard someone drop a pencil in the hall, and then like nothing for a second, and then some booze, and then one of the devs, I'm kidding you not, leans into the microphone and goes, "What's wrong? Don't you people have phones?" There's been some bad takes from developers before, but an instant bad taste, an instant or a bad take rather, an instant bad take. That was probably one of the fastest ones. Michael Cook says one can never have too much bookshelves. I agree with you. I just wish I had the room.
And I agree that we all expand to fill our environments. It's absolutely true.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of what happened to me. It's like I got the studio together like I wanted to. I got a new I got a new shallower desk area, but it was still able to work with. You know, it saved me like it saved me like 8 inches of depth. Everything was awesome, and then I was gifted stuff.
Yeah. So with you, we have I say trifecta, but you know, two. Massive nerd with, you know, the D&D and all the other things, which are awesome, but also you worked in IT. So if people weren't giving you nerd things, they were giving you IT nerd things. Computer parts, monitors, dead computers, full of dust and cat hair.
Well, one of my proudest moments was, and this is not something you guys can see, obviously, but on the wall opposite of the studio space, coming into the studio from the door jamb to as far over as it would go, which is next to a hot water heater, and then out to the step down was a pile of computers.
It really
Athlon,
was like a mountain.
1.4 gigahertz Athlons, just heaps of garbage stuff.
Too long, or you're gonna cut your eyeballs in one of those.
And I snapped one day and just dragged every single computer case. The scrap guy, you know, to quote Quint from Jaws, or paraphrase Quint from Jaws. Oh, the scrap man, he gonna have a heart attack when he saw what I brung him. And I just threw them out there, but I don't know.
Ready to make snacks and just watch, because like, what is all this coming back and forth?
Yeah, I don't know that I could do that with books, though. That would hurt me.
No, not books. No, I have my own books and all that. So
computer stuff come and computer stuff go, but books, yeah.
Yep.
I have, to my credit. I don't have you ever done this? Has there ever been one book, Mrs. the Dungeon Delver, that you've been like into the trash?
Oh, probably, but because it's me, I probably went, and I will never think of it again, because hell no.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think there's been a couple, like I can't think of what they are now, because for the most part, I mean, it's a book. I will never destroy a book. I mean, anybody's burning a book, I'm going to cry. I don't care what it is. But sometimes you're just like, what is this? Now, I'm a voracious reader on my Kindle. And I'll grab, you know, something that's, you know, for free or whatever. And in Kindle Unlimited, I can borrow books. And sometimes I'll get a page or two in and go, I have just wasted my life on this. And like, it's just super satisfying to hit delete download. Are you sure? Oh, yes.
Yeah, I'm not.
0 pennies on this.
There's a schism in our family, though. I am not digital books, man. I can't sit with that, but I get it. That's your thing. I understand the convenience of it. Thank you, Bob Jester, for the super. I am a fun of pans. That's awesome. Yeah. Spoonerisms too, I see. So really? Thank you so much for the super, Bob. We appreciate it around here. You literally help keep the lights on. I love it. Physical for the win. Darn right.
The lights are on literature.
The lights are on litter. Yes. Well, I'll tell you this too. If I was ever going, if I was going to break my my commandment against throwing books away, I did for not terrible books in the sense that, well, these deserve it, but they were merely bad books. I should have given them away or dropped them off at Goodwill or something like that. If I was gonna throw a book in the trash, it should have been something more monumentally awful than these, because it was like a science fiction book by Ben Bova and a techno thriller by some guy trying to jump into the tail end of like the Tom Clancy thing.
Okay.
And I wish I had really saved it for something that I absolutely hated. Just like, oh no, this goes in the trash. But no, I will never throw a book away, and I don't want to do that. Hello, Annette. Annette Cook, welcome. Both
Hi.
is good. Yes, Wolfenstein was okay. So I'm gonna put my little propeller beanie on for a second. Connect is talking about no, General, not even 5e, but Maze War on the Xerox Alto workstation was the first person maze game. It was not a free moving raycasting maze game, though. That is probably that would probably be alternate reality on the 8-bit Atari and 8-bit Commodore 64. But I don't want to, like, my guest and
Yes,
9
so
of you
Twilight is
13 people on
garbage,
will
sorry.
just disappear, and I'll be sitting here talking about raycasting engines and first person computer games. So I'm not going to do that. But it was Maze War on the Xerox Alto. But anyway, to get back to topics. So you don't, and I know this for a fact, this is a statement more for the audience. You don't tabletop game anymore, correct?
No, not really. I mean, just sort of something I sort of phased out, and maybe partly because like we had little kids and trying to divide attention and tag in or out. And so for me, it was kind of more like I can talk to another grown up at the table, and you were like, "Stop with the talk at the table," and I'm like, "Really?" And it was like, "I'm sorry." I'm like, "You know what?
We're
I'll
not here
just
to
go over here."
have fun. We're here to play Dungeons and Dragons.
I'm like, "Who's playing, pal?" Like, nope.
But even setting that aside, I mean, is there a point at which, like, you would ever say, you know, I think I want to do some pen and paper again?
I don't know. I mean, never say
Yeah.
never. It was kind of
And it's
fun
less
going to some of
more.
the conventions.
It's less. I'm going to put you on the spot and make my wife tell the audience.
It better be less than that, yes.
It is much less than that, and more of you as someone who has an extensive tabletop gaming background, now having taken time away, kind of thing, you know, because so many of us on this side of the screen and down there in the I was pointing the wrong direction, down there in the comments section, you know, it's every day. For me, getting back to AD&D in 90s, whatever it was a while ago.
90s. Just say the 90s, baby.
In the 90s, which was 10 years ago. And I will kick and ban anybody who starts up that the 90s were 30 years ago shit. Anyway, but no, the you know, it's easy for me to say let's play D&D, but if you've been gone for a long time, if you've stepped away from whether it's bringing up the kids, other things, work, what have you, bringing that hobby back, I think is an interesting challenge. You know, I mean, you know, it's like where do you start back? Do you go back to the old? Do you seek out the new? You know, because there's a lot that's gone down between 2009 and 2023.
It's true, and it's not just the games; it's also yourself. And you know, because none of us are standing still. So you know, where if we changed, the people that we gamed with changed, and you know, things, lots of churn. And I find it interesting also just with you know, post world events and things where everyone was stuck at home. I found it really interesting to people reaching out and playing games like this over the internet and things like that, which was really neat. It's really cool to see. So it's not just, you know, Diablo and whatever game of the month that people are playing, but role playing games online. So really interesting phenomena to see things brought back, everything old is new again. So that you're raised by a history buff nerd family, you know, sociology degree going on. I'm like, this is super fascinating. We're going to look back at this in 50 years and go, look at this trend and the people doing these things together again. And just, and it is interesting, even though I'm not playing, I can see those trends, and I can see that there's a lot more interest. Because I remember when you wanted to get back into it and you were so sad that some of the things that you had as a kid had kind of been thrown away, and you had wanted to rebuild your collection. And you're like, oh, I don't know if I should. And I'm like, why not? I grew up playing games. I felt sad for other kids. It just felt weird to me if I went to a friend's house and like they didn't interact with their parents all that much at all. And it was very awkward to me. Like, these people don't play games together on Friday nights. It was weird and it was wrong. So and so it's interesting to see these things kind of coming back. And yeah, a lot of people might attribute that to Stranger Things and other sort of 80s nostalgia kind of coming back that bring back up into the common man, if you will. But we can sit back and go, yeah, we saw that. And I wasn't playing D&D in the 80s, but I was a Star Wars fan when like none of the other girls were, So yeah, I got some nerd cred. What can I say? Not a lot. Not as much as you
absolutely.
Do.
Well,
yeah, but I mean, I was just like, sure, absolutely rebuilt your collection. It was never something that we were never gonna drop $1,000 on something, but we could find.
Oh no, never.
They found some gems at a couple of used bookstores nearby. That was just amazing. And I had that coworker. I had a coworker briefly who was like, "Hey, I was up. I think he said he was at Gainesville or something, and I found this."
Yes, I have told that
and
story.
I was like, I called you on my little flip phone. I'm like, "Hey, Bill."
Yes.
Is this something you want? And you were like, oh, like couldn't speak. And I'm like, that's a yes then, I think. I think we gave
yes. I did not. This is one of them. That is it's Men in Magic. And I let somebody draw in this. There's like pen and marker on the inside now, so I don't know if this has held on to its value. Some guy named Gary Gygax and another guy named Dave Arneson put their signatures in this and all the other little OD&D books. So I remember
he wouldn't let us pay him much for it.
Yeah. No, he wanted like $7 a piece. He wanted what he paid for them.
I think we ended up giving him $20, something like that. I'm not sure why I think that, but you'll remember the details better than I do.
Yeah. It was literally like a couple of fins. It was not a. Yeah, but I was astounded because I had seen, and I love telling this story. We had a fantastic comic shop, and Mrs. Delver and I used to go to it a lot. Enterprise 1701 over on Corinne Drive, and then they moved and became Sci-Fi City, and they moved again and shrunk, and they're still Sci-Fi. Actually, no, the store is literally called FLGS, which I think lacks something. It
lacks a lot.
But anyway, my FLGS is Gods and Monsters now. I love their shop. Todd and Ann are awesome people. If you're in Orlando, 5421 International Drive, check them out. But
absolutely, so cool.
But when they were when Sci-Fi City, FLGS, whatever, was still Enterprise 1701, and they were located just outside the Navy base, I went one afternoon, it's probably a Saturday, with my buddy Matt Shedd, and I was buying I had $50, and I was buying Gundam models or something like that. And he said, "Hey, you got $50 to spend?" And I said, "Yeah." And he's like, you want a set of the original Dungeons and Dragons rules?" And my tabletop experience at this point was Mech Warrior and Cyberpunk and Hero System And I kind of snorted and said no. And he said, check this out. And I walked up, and there, under glass, under the counter, was a wood grain AD&D set for $50. This was 1991 or 92.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So finally getting my own sets of AD&D was that. Michael Cook asked, does Gods and Monsters stock miniatures? Absolutely. They get vintage metal miniatures in, which I usually valuate for them. They carry WizKids and other companies' official D&D minis, painted and unpainted. And they have a huge variety. For the size store they have, the variety of minis they have is bananas. And they have dungeon terrain and everything. I know this sounds like a paid endorsement. It's not. It's
really not.
So they have paints, miniatures, terrain, the whole schmear. The whole schmear.
Comics, some great stuff.
So Bob Jester's been through so many people on the show are ex-Navy geeks. And even though they're in all parts of the country, I start talking about Sci-Fi City or Enterprise 1701, and they know where I'm talking about, because if you were if you were at the NTC, whether you were in the nuke school or just a rating, just one of the low ratings, you came out of the front gate about 2 blocks down, and it was on your left, and there went your paycheck if you were a nerd.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go. Bob says I went to boot in Orlando. So you know what time it is.
Orlando International Airport is MCO because it was McCoy.
Yeah, it's an Air Force base. They still have one of the B-52s that flew out of there parked. Cool. It's a display piece. They didn't just roll a B-52 over and say, "Here you go." It is a display piece. But let's see. The minister seeing drinking in your car. Don't want to hear one Facebook about yeah. But anyway. Sayana, is there anything else, Mrs. the Dungeon Delver, that we have not touched on, gaming wise or otherwise, that you would like to discuss? Any surprises you've hidden away from me that you'd like to spring?
Right.
That won't get me demonetized and my channel shut down.
What in the world do you think of me?
What did I just say?
Ow. Okay. Don't make me laugh that hard.
Sorry.
Are you though? I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't know. Sometimes I don't think about all the gaming I did because it's just part of who I am and what I did. I've been trying to think. My dad had this computer game. It was, way back in the, early 80s, like 82, 83. And he had this, I don't know if it was the Atari computer, but the monitor had the green, the green monitor.
The green phosphor monitor, yeah.
Yeah, and and I would want to play the games because my dad would talk about them, but it was just words on the screen, and you had to try to keep track of which way you're going. Are you going north? Are you going south? And I'm trying to remember the name. I don't remember the name of that game. And then, in the late 80s, there was a game that I liked to play that he had, and I almost destroyed his keyboard with strawberry ice cream because we weren't supposed to eat at the computer. He did it all the time. I mean, he was with pretzels and beer in, the 70s and 80s. So when he got a computer and played games, he was still eating at the computer. So I was trying, I think I was a senior, and I was like, oh no, I'm not gonna graduate. I'm going to die. So, and I'm like, I learned that you could pop the keys off the keyboard, and I'm like, I'm gonna get the. I unplugged the keyboard really fast. I'm like, I didn't know what strawberry ice cream was gonna do to this thing. And I'm like, quick, like napkin or something. And I realized there was all these crumbs there, and I was like, betrayal. And I'm like, fine, I'm gonna. That keyboard had never been so clean after I was done with it.
Well, you're old, like late 80s, early 90s PC equipment. I mean, my Model M keyboard is a
so
vintage
loud.
1991, and I love it. Thank you.
I know you do. I can't stand it. It's so
clackety,
loud.
Clackety.
Yeah. And we're like, when you stop, we're like, oh, it's a ceasefire.
Clickety clackety. My keyboard makes me happy. Speaking of things that make me happy, the following folks have subscribed to us on Subscribestar and on Patreon. You can do that if you want to, but let me tell you what, if you're just stopping by for the first time, or if you watch the shows regularly but you haven't clicked that subscribe button, please do click the subscribe button. Click the bell icon for notifications. If you like this and other videos I do, give it a thumbs up. If you don't like them, give it a thumbs down, but leave a comment in the comments below and tell us what you don't like about it, so I can make better content for you. But these folks have stepped up, and they have contributed to the show, and I just want to take a minute to thank them. We have a new. Okay, this is awful of me. I'm gonna find this real quick. Let me go into my inbox proper, because we just had somebody. The DMs Council has joined us on Patreon. The DMs Council, you're not in the crawl. Actually, I can put you in the crawl here. We'll just do this. There we go. Okay, so let me say special thanks then to Joshua Garlock, Lord Corion, Ricky Maru, Mobius, Kevin Reynolds, Doomsword Deathmaster, Mark Simpson, Damien247, James F. Keck, William Smith, The Dungeon Minister, sit you down, Father, bless you, Manny Wall, Mark Corey, Kevin Wood, Todd Sharp, the increasingly frighteningly named Carnivore Farmer, Rob knows I can't say that, Euless, Jeremy Rule, who's a swell guy. I miss you, Jeremy. Stop in and say hi sometime. Bo Ganora, Mikey Mank, the Sky Hernstrom, this guy right here, Pete Sullivan, and the DMs Council. See how easy that was? Thank you all so very, very much for contributing to the show. It is very helpful and always appreciated. I think we're probably going to wrap that up. People are probably tired of us making googie eyes at each other. Michael Cook has already subscribed. Michael, it is appreciated. Zork to you too, General. You changed the name to Bob Just. Okay, Bob, I will change it in the banner. But it's always fun to censor you, so maybe I won't. But anyway, no, thank you all for stopping by. Thank you all from me for your well wishes on Mrs. the Dungeon Delver's recovery.
So much. Yeah, it's been 2 weeks, and so far so good. So thank you so much, everybody.
Yes, and I couldn't do it without her. Let's just
you couldn't have recover without me. That's true.
All right. So you guys have an absolutely wonderful evening. As I said, tomorrow night we'll be back with some preamble ramble. Then we're going to play some Gamma World. And then Monday, Alan Hammock in the house. And we'll talk to you all later. Have a good one. Peace.